Hi there, I'm Angie, and I have just gotten home from the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, and today is Easter, and it was an interesting experience because this morning when I walked in, well, I'm in the choir, that's why I'm dressed in black on Easter, by the way, but I did wear my white, I brought the light forth in my jewelry because, yeah, our choir is required to wear black, and so yeah, I had gotten there early, and they were setting things up, and I noticed that they were setting up a communion table, 2 of them. So they had a communion table to my right and a communion table to my left, and well, that took me back to being a child in a Methodist church on my knees, and that experience was always weird and uncomfortable and even a little bit scary because we were drinking the blood of Christ and eating the body of Christ. And so I just had a lot of energy around that I don't know, I was about to say I didn't expect to have, to experience a communion in my near future, but if I'm honest, and I said this to the guy behind me this morning, that I actually had this intuition that I would that I would receive a communion today. And when I had it, I was like, well, that's silly because I don't go anywhere where that's going to happen. And then I show up at CSL this morning and here they are. So I noticed a really visceral experience that I had with that, and noticed that I had some unhealed stuff about the whole receiving communion. And I even said to the same guy behind me, I said, so I expect that there's going to be a great reframe for me around Easter and around communion in general. And that I was excited about that. Look forward to see how that unfolded exactly. So here's the reframe. Just cutting to the chase, what Petra Weldis, Reverend Petra Weldis, is the senior minister at CSL Dallas. What she said was that well, first of all, she talked about the bread, and she said that we were actually using, I can't remember what the word was that she said, but it's a more unleavened bread, so that it would be more traditionally what would be used. And that then she talked about the fact that there was not a culture on the planet that did not have some form of a bread and as a part of their diet. She talked about how the bread actually represented all of the things that life and the world gave to support us, so that everything that we need is here, provided for us, and to embrace that thought when embracing taking in the body of Christ in the communion ceremony. And so that was a really cool reframe. It's different because, seriously, as a kid, I remember thinking, this is bread, but they're calling it the body of Christ, so somehow it was always really freaky to be eating that. But anyways, it was a cool reframe to think about embracing metaphorically, metaphysically, the idea that life supports me in all ways and always. And she talked about the fact that the making of bread requires lots of things to come together and lots of actions and doing to be done. And when we do those actions and put those things together in the perfect combination, then we get this product, the bread. And so that is, in that way, it represents what the world is always providing for us. And then she talked about the wine and the fact that there was also not a culture on the planet that did not have some sort of a fermented drink. She reminded us that the wine is, the fermentation process of the wine is happening in the darkness all on its own while we're out doing the things to make the bread. And so that the wine represents the divine part of us. And that divine creation is always going on our behalf in the darkness. And so then it was time to go and take communion. And I felt slightly irreverent right before it because my friends from choir and I don't know, somebody made a joke or something. And so I wasn't really, suddenly I was out of the space of really being conscious of this beautiful reframe that had just happened. And then right as and then they forgot our row. We were sitting in the front row, and they forgot our row to bring us forward to take the communion. And so we realized we were the last ones, and we got up and went, and suddenly I just like locked into this space of reverence for this experience of this ritual. And so when I actually consumed the bread, I was embracing the knowing that if I go out and do the things that I feel called to do regarding the dreams that I feel called to follow, that the bread is going to be created and given to me always. And also, while I'm out doing that, that magic is happening as I drink the wine, that magic is happening behind the scenes all the time on my behalf. And so, clearly, it was an emotional experience. And so I cry all the time at CSL. Sometimes I don't even think it's my own emotion I'm expressing, but I cry often there. And today was another one of those days. It was it just felt really healing to have the whole reframe of the experience of communion. And it was just really special. And the other cool thing that happened today was that Petra read the Lord's Prayer in the Aramaic version, what would be considered the street language of the time. And it was a lot different than the Lord's Prayer that I remember hearing, and so she recited that line by line and had us recite it back. That was super cool. It was beautiful. You should check that out. I guess you could probably Google Aramaic Lord's Prayer. All right, so I just wanted to share my experience. Yeah, come to CSL because cool things like that happen. All right, bye-bye.